everyone, I'm filming this video ridiculously impromptu. First of all though, I'm sitting in a new location. I'm on like the corner of my bed. It's just like, we used to be here, now we're here. Do you like this better? I think I do, because I can literally like reach out and touch Shadow Me High. Yeah, but that might just be me. So let me know if you like this location better. Today I'm gonna do my favorite childhood books. I've recently been collecting all of my favorite childhood books just because I want them for nostalgia reasons. So if you've been watching my book hauls for the past year or so, you'll see that occasionally I have picked up a book that I remember I read as a kid, and I just want them on my shelf because it's like, it feelsies, you know? So this first book I found in my attic, and I had completely forgot it existed, and it's my favorite picture book as a child, You're Special by Max Lucado. I remember in like 2nd grade I was obsessed with this book, and it's about like a little toy who is different from the other toys or something, and it's like so sweet and heartwarming, and I'm probably gonna keep this 5 ever. Next book is Chansey of the Moray River by Gigi Amatou. First of all, I might as well preface this with this explanation. As a little girl, I was obsessed with horses, so half the books I read as a kid had to do with horses, so that's why this is a thing. Whenever I was looking for this book, I expected it to be bigger because I remembered this book when I was a kid as being like huge and thick, and like it's not, and that just cracks me up. I sold this and a bunch of my childhood books in a garage sale, and I'm mad because this was one of them and I couldn't find it for like 4 years, and I finally found this because this edition of it is out of print. This book is just about a horse who is partially blind, and it's about his writer Claire, and so good. This is the #1 book I want to reread because I remember this was my favorite book for like 2 years. Another horse book, are you surprised? This is Jane Smiley's The Georges and the Jewels. I remember I got this for Christmas, and this is about a girl that lives on a farm. Her family raises horses to sell them. They name the geldings George and the mares Jewel. It's like about how she wants a horse of her own, and yeah, that could be completely wrong actually. But yeah, I loved this one too. I know Jane Smiley has a whole line of horse books out. Next book is not a horse book, and that is A Corner of the Universe by Anne M. Martin. This book, I believe, is about someone with a disability. I'm not sure if that's autism, Down syndrome. It's a coming-of-age story about someone who is friends with that person. So, I thought it was very heartwarming. I remember next to nothing about it, just that I read it in 6th grade. And I, again, want to reread all of these. The next series I remember loving. I don't know how far I got through it, though, and that is the Canterwood Crest series by Jessica Burghardt. This was my obsession. They might be a little bit dramatic because it's middle grade, but oh my goodness gracious. These were da bomb diggity when I was like 9. The next book I read in 5th grade for class, and I don't remember loving this. I feel like whenever I think of the first book I remember reading, this book comes to mind, and this is Frindle by Andrew Clements. You've probably heard of this book. Again, it's been, what, 5 minus 12, 7 years since I've read this, so I couldn't tell you exactly. I believe it's about a group of classmates that rename a pen a Frindle just because they want to, like, protest their teacher and get a word in the dictionary. Okay, I lied about Canterwood Crest. This was my favorite series in 6th grade. This is the Phantom Stallion series by Terry Farley. I don't remember how far into the series I got. I know I got really far though. This is the Wild Horse Island edition of this series. So this is about a girl named Darby who goes to Hawaii to live with some family member on their farm, and she just has a bunch of adventures finding wild horses and taming them and writing them and stuff like that. This is probably the first book in the world that I was like obsessed with. Like, I would reread it. It was like my 10-year-old Shatter Me. I found this nifty autographed copy at Half Price Books, so that's swaggy. The next book is called Waiting for Normal, and that's by Leslie Connor. This one has a sticker on it. Oh, we need to fix that. Anyway, so this is a coming-of-age story about a girl who's 12, and it's about how she lives in a trailer park because her dad and her mom are divorced, and it's just about her life, and I thought it was really good when I read it. I have no idea how old I was, but I just memories about this book. I read this at the library, so I would always tell myself, oh, I need to go buy that, and I never did. So this title just stuck in my head for years. The next book, I don't remember when I read, but this is my mom's copy of it actually when she was a kid, and it's Charlotte's Web by E.B. White. I want to reread this simply because it's a classic, and I know I'm gonna love it even like 10 years later. There's pictures, so that's pretty swaggy. The next book, in 4th grade, my friend and I were obsessed with this. You could call her up and say, what was our favorite book in 4th grade? We would both say this book. This is Double Identity by Margaret Peters Haddix. This I found for $1 in the clearance section. I don't know why that's important, but this book is about a girl who's cloned. It is so cool. This is like the first sci-fi thing I ever read, and honestly, I know I keep saying I want to reread these, but I loved this book. My friend and I would just reread this over and over. This is like one of my earliest memories is my friend who read this with me, and we both loved it. She was like, guess what I'm rereading, and it was always this book. If you haven't read this book, I highly recommend it. It is very, very neat. I don't think I've ever showed all of these on video before, but I have this many Magic Treehouse books. This is 1 through 28 with like 5 of them missing. As a small baby WhittyNovels, I would lock myself in the bathroom at night and read these from cover to cover because I didn't want my mom to catch me after it was bedtime reading these, and I loved them. I would get so immersed in them, and it was like ridiculous. So I think it'd be fun to marathon them. I'm pretty sure I could read all of these in one day. So Magic Treehouse, I know I'm not the only one. This was the bomb. And that is all for childhood books, I believe. Let me make sure. Yep, we're all done. There are still a couple of things out there that I may have forgotten that I read that I liked or something like that. There are definitely some books that I see on shelves that I'm like, I read that as a kid. I just don't feel like the need to buy it. Like books like Kira Kira, Ida B, So Be It. One book that I've been meaning to get that I actually have in my Amazon cart right now. It's called Small Steps, The Year I Got Polio. 4th grade again. Our teacher read this out loud to us and I loved it. It's autobiographical about a girl who had polio. So I know this video didn't have any Percy Jackson or Harry Potter or whatever the popular books were back then. I'm reading that now though, so picking up the slack. I'll see you next time everyone. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.